Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the United Regional Chamber of Commerce's weekly updates. I shouldn't say weekly. We took a couple of weeks off, a little bit of a break, but we're back. And this week, I'm very happy to bring on one of my favorite business people. I've had the honor of working with this lady for a number of years. She has helped, I can't even count how many of our members and local businesses that she has helped. Her name is Nancy Loud. She is the Senior Business Advisor in the Southeast Regional Office of the Mass Small Business Development Center out of UMass Dartmouth. And she wears many, many hats. She also teaches at Boston College. And she is our import expert guru from around this area. So Nancy, welcome back.
Thanks, Jack. I'm delighted to be here. I guess, excuse me, I guess only one correction I would make is that we're actually based at UMass Amherst.
Amherst. Oh, okay.
That's our headquarters. The Mass Small Business Development Center is based at UMass Amherst, but we have offices throughout the state. I work out of the Fall River Southeastern Mass office, but we have one in Boston, in north of Boston, the Berkshires, Springfield. We try to be within 20 minutes of everyone in the state.
Well, it's been a phenomenal relationship that the Chamber has had with you and the organization for so many years. Tell us, what are some of the challenges these days that some of our businesses are facing?
Well, just to give you a little bit of a background, I'm trying to put my glasses on so I can see you better, but I know it's reflecting.
Okay.
You'd think I'd have this Zoom stuff down by now. First off, what the Small Business Development Center does is it helps small businesses start and grow. So we deal with anyone who's got a business idea, a concept, and wants help to make it a reality. Our services are free and are confidential. And I was thinking just before I jumped onto this call, the kinds of things I've done just today shows you a little bit of the variety. I had one client who has always wanted to start a coffee shop and wanted help with that. I had another client who's an existing business and needed some guidance about how to charge sales tax, which is actually a more complicated question than you would think. I had somebody else who I was trying to help find a business location. And, those are all the different kinds of things. Mainly what people, are challenged with is, of course, starting a business, where to start, what to do. We're a good place to start to help you. And we connect you with all different kinds of people. And we work with all partners, all different kinds of partners, including people like you, our friends at the Chamber. You're our outreach to all the companies in the business community. So we just totally value your partnership.
Well, and I know that it's not just my chamber here. You do with chambers all over the state.
Yep.
Because we do represent a lot of businesses, and we get a lot of inquiries on how to start a business. Where do I get my financing? And the first place that we send them to is you.
No, thanks. We appreciate that.
Well, you have all of the answers that we don't have. And, you've gotten such great guidance. A small, terrible part of your job, unfortunately, is you have to tell the truth. And some people don't like to hear the truth.
Well, I never discourage people and say, oh, well, that's a silly idea, or that will never work. I don't believe in that. I actually think the best thing that you can do for people is show them the path of what they're going to have to do and what steps they're going to have to take to make their dream a reality. And sometimes it's a question of, oh, well, maybe you need to work on your credit score so that you'll be more bankable. Or sometimes it's, oh, you really need to have a better business plan with some financials. And I can help with some of that. I spend a lot of time helping people with doing a business plan, which is a tool that you absolutely need, whether you're getting financing or not. It's just not something that most people have done before.
Well, you helped us out. I think it was almost a year and a half ago now in downtown Attleboro
All right.
when we had the contest that Catherine Feerick from the Economic Development Office had offered out to help these businesses start. You were on the committee with us, and you actually guided two or three of those to enhance their business plan,
Oh, yeah.
to make it more solid. And you gave them the counseling that they needed to get it approved so that they could receive some of these grants. And I'm sure you do that in many, many other communities, correct?
Well, yeah, that's the goal. I mean, the fact of the matter is, unless there's a special program, there really aren't startup grants. You know, a lot of times I actually that's the hard conversations I have to have, Jack, is when I have to tell people there isn't a startup grant available for you. There's financing that you may have to you will have to pay back, but there really aren't startup grants. That special program that you had in Attleboro, you know, that's an unusual program, and it was one I was really happy to be involved in. But that's the bad news for a lot of people, is to find out that there isn't a pool or a pot of money that I have that I can say, oh, I really like your idea. Here's some money. But what I can do is help you get ready to approach a lender and put forward a plan with financial projections that will make them consider you much more seriously.
Right. And that's one of the things that MSBDC does not do is finance.
No.
You help them and you prep them to, as you say, get bankable. But you've got many financial partners
Yes.
that you introduce folks to.
Yeah, and actually, that's a misunderstanding, is that the SBA makes loans. The SBA does not make loans. The SBA underwrites and helps secure bankers for different kinds of loans. So we work with every SBA affiliated bank and non-banks alike. Any of the banks in the area, we're completely ecumenical. I love to work with them. I love when they send their clients to me, and I can help them get their business plan together. And the word bankable is important, because that means a bank is likely to take a shot. And the SBA's role in this is to help a bank take a shot and finance someone that maybe they wouldn't otherwise without a government-backed guarantee for the bank.
And that's what a lot of the SBA does, is back those loans
Yes.
and helps the financial institution, make good decisions.
Yes.
And every once in a while has to make that bank whole if the business goes belly up.
Exactly. And this is one of the things, is that banks don't want any loan to go south. So they put you through your paces. They really do. They want to see a good credit score to start with. Then they want to see a very good business plan with cash projections. Cash flow is the thing that kicks a lot of companies out of contention. A cash flow is just a measure of money going in, money going out. And banks want to make sure that you're going to be able to make it through, the ups and downs, the seasonal changes in demand, and cover that loan. So that's a very big part of what we do as well. Every business has some seasonality to it, no matter what it is.
Absolutely.
Some have more.
Absolutely. But even if somebody doesn't need the financing, they need the guidance of a business plan, because you'll help them also, put the finishing touches on some marketing plans
Absolutely.
and give them some great advice. And you have such a plethora of resources that if you don't have the answer, you know where to get the answer.
Yeah, there's no question. Thank you for that. But there's no question that we are connected to every sort of government agency out there, lots of private people. I get asked for a list of lawyers, a list of accountants, a list of insurance agents. We always put together a list of at least 3 for anyone who's asking for referrals. And our mission is to help connect people to the resources that they need. I was helping somebody yesterday with a government procurement question, although I am not an expert on that, but we do have a whole division, a specialty center that is just focused on selling to the government, and I can link you in with them. And as you mentioned, we have a group called Mass Export Center, which is a specialty center that focuses specifically on exporting. And I worked in that section of the MSBDC for quite a while as well. So I get questions on importing and exporting, but mainly it's the folks at the Mass Export Center that are super expert on that.
All right. And also tell us, you teach at Boston College.
Yes, I do.
Tell us what you enlighten our next generation to come up with.
Well, I teach in their MBA program and in their undergraduate program, and because I'm busy with MSBDC things, I really only have time to teach one class a semester. As much as I enjoy it, this semester, I'm teaching a class I've been teaching for, I don't know, 10 years or so on leadership. And it's a great group of students. They have an undergraduate minor in leadership and organization. And in the summer and in the winter semester, I teach in the MBA program and I teach management strategy. That's really where I, have done most of my teaching is on management strategy.
Well, speaking of strategy, how are you counseling folks right now with the lack of workforce?
Yeah, this is, if there's anything, you asked at the very beginning, what are people facing right now? Several main topics that are on everyone's mind. One, can't find enough good workers, and I'm going to come back specifically to that. Two, supply chain issues due to disruptions from the pandemic that have still not worked through. And three, inflationary pressures, which have increased costs all the way down the line. Going back to the question of workers, there's no easy solution to that. But the companies who have done the best, I think, are essentially in permanent recruitment and training mode. They are constantly recruiting and training people for the jobs that they have open and for ones that are not even open yet. There's no magic wand solution. Some companies have, started their own apprenticeship programs if they need to fill the pipeline in some of the trades. Others have formed relationships with schools, technical schools, even high schools to get people. But it's definitely an issue. And it's one that, all companies are dealing with. And some have really, really struggled, especially in a lot of the hospitality businesses and restaurants, things like that over the summer. Very difficult, partly because they didn't have access to a lot of the international students and workers that they usually have. And, and then you hear the complaints. And I'm a small business advocate like you are, Jack. And it crushes me when people take a complaint about, say, slow service, and they go on Yelp and they trash the company and say, this is a terrible restaurant or this is a terrible... because that really hurts their reputation. And granted, customers should be able to give feedback, but boy, it's rough to have your efforts diminished on social media. It's really, really tough. I always plead with people, think twice before you send that flame. Talk to the manager before you put it on Yelp.
Because every one of my restaurants are hurting. Every one of my hospitalities,
yes.
They can't find the proper help. Some will show up for a day, some will show up for 2 days, then not come back. And it's not the owner's fault. It's not the business fault. It is just the way, unfortunately, our society is headed at this moment. So, I've asked on a couple of the other shows and some of us, just be kind. Be a little bit patient with some of these folks. And we also actually should be thankful for those people who show up every day.
Yes.
To serve you in those hospitality roles.
Yes. No, I understand. People are spending their hard-earned money for a dining experience or a hotel experience, and when it's not what they hope it was going to be, they're disappointed. But please talk to the owner before, or the manager before you take to social media, because that is really crushing, especially independents. Like you said, your independent restaurants, they don't have the millions of dollars of advertising chain restaurants have.
Right.
So what they're selling is their reputation. So, and we also work with companies on their social media strategy too.
Well, Nancy, what are your thoughts about what do you think it's going to look like here a year down the road? Are
Oh,
we getting back from this COVID, or are we going to be kind of stuck for a little while in this, I don't know, neutral mode?
well, no one has a crystal ball. Nobody has a really good uh, view. But based on sort of my own knowledge of small business and my pretty intensive reading of what is being put out there, I think we're dealing with some of these problems at least for the next year, particularly the problems of inflation, which I know, there's attempts to try to attack it on the federal level with interest rates and whatnot. But I hate to say it, but I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, as prices increase. And then you will see, because when prices increase, it dampens demand. You will see some impact on that. So I think it's a hang on, get back to basics, and focus on every cost as best as you can. And also, as a small business, seek to differentiate yourself, because during tough times, people will make choices based on the things that matter most to them. And so it may be a small cup of coffee and a homemade pastry that they go out for rather than a full meal. But you want to be the one that they're thinking of when it comes to making decisions like that.
Absolutely. And right now is the right time to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. Make sure that your marketing plan or your business plan is top notch. And that's why you should reach out to Nancy and her team at the Mass Small Business Development Center. Nancy, I know I kind of rushed you a little bit today.
No, no,
Thank
my
you very
fault.
much.
I do want to say one last thing, Jack, and that is, when things get tough and money gets tight, one of the things companies do is they cut back on marketing, and they cut back on memberships or activities, and that is absolutely not the time to do that. It is not the time to cut back on marketing expenditures, because it is so much harder to gain back altitude after you've lost it even more. So please stay connected and stay involved and keep your marketing going.
Nancy Loud, thank you very much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Okay, we'll see you when Nancy comes to my office once a month. You can make appointments. She'll do it on Zoom. She'll do it on Microsoft Teams, whatever it might be.
Whatever it takes.
She's right there for us. Nancy, thank you very much. Have a
All
great
right.
afternoon.
Thanks very much.
All right.
Bye.
Folks, thanks for joining us this afternoon. We will see you next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we have Kelly Fox coming on with us to talk about Christmases for kids, because we're getting into that mode again. We just had a phenomenal gala last Saturday night, raised a lot of money for the new shelter that's coming, and Kelly will tell us all about it next week. Shout out again to Dave Angel, our producer at AACS, and for all the patience that he has with me, because I'm not very computer savvy, and we appreciate all that AACS does for us and the entire community. So, folks, thanks. We'll see you next week.